Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today I'm going to do something that makes me a little bit uncomfortable and talk about two things that I haven't actually finished yet. The first is The Walk, which is a new fictional podcast from Panoply. The second is my own novel. And again, I haven't finished either of these, so I cannot in good conscience recommend either. So The Walk is a post-apocalyptic thriller podcast that puts the listener into the role of the main character. It's honestly the first-person podcast I've ever listened to or even really heard of, and that comes with its own set of weird problems, and if you want to hear me talk more about that, you can click over and watch my other video. So the basic premise is that you are and you're sitting in a train station in the UK, and some random person comes up to you with a box and hands it to you and says you need to get it to Edinburgh. And then there is a terrorist attack and all of the electricity goes out in the train station except for a cool little earpiece that you've been given that pipes the voice of your handler, Charlie, straight into your ear. Which is definitely clever because since you're the main character, you have Charlie right in your little earbud, which definitely gives it a fun sense of realism. So far, I'm listening to episode 6 of 8, which are out right now, and I'm not even necessarily sure if they're gonna release any more. But when you're releasing episodes every 5 or so days, you need something to convince your listener to continue coming back for every single episode. And this can lead a writer to do some pretty desperate things. Now, I know a post-apocalyptic thriller is supposed to be full of dangerous twists and turns. I get that. But when your episodes are only 20 minutes long and you're forced to end every single one with an exploding car crash or a pack of rabid wolves, you can very easily run into what I like to call cliffhanger fatigue. This podcast is not the only thing to run into this problem. Like, almost all of television, except for sitcoms and Black Mirror, are told episodically. But the problem of having to convince your listener or your reader or your viewer to come back and consume your content time after time after time is something experienced by all episodic media. We don't typically think of novels as being episodic, but really every chapter is a new instance for someone to decide whether or not to put your book down. And no matter what you're writing, the instinct to up the drama at every break to keep stringing your reader along and coming back for more is a very easy trap to fall into. So as some of you may know, for the past 6 months, I've been working on my first novel. But to keep myself on track, I've been writing it in kind of a strange way. I got a whole bunch of people to sign up for an email list, and I vowed to send out 2 chapters every week until the thing was done. And over the course of the last half year, 40-odd chapters, I can say that this thing has been more mentally and emotionally draining than I ever could have imagined. But the one thing that's made it harder than anything is how easy it is to fall into the cliffhanger trap. I know I've been guilty of it more than once. But 40 chapters later, if every few pages is ending with someone getting their head chopped off, then when you finally end up with something that needs to shock your reader, something that really needs to hit them, they just end up with another cliffhanger, which is something they've already gotten 40-odd times. But this still leaves you with the basic problem. How do you ensure that your reader keeps coming back to your content without convincing them that all of their favorite characters are about to die at the beginning of the next chapter? This is the bit that I think separates good books from bad books, is that the writers of good books understand that not all stakes have to be physical. They don't even have to be emotional, though that can be a little bit better. You can set up thematic stakes to advance what your novel is trying to say without leaving your reader hanging on a life or death question. By alternating between plot hangers and emotional hangers and thematic hangers, you can pull your reader through the story without risking cliffhanger fatigue. Now, to do this, you have to make sure you're thinking about your story from all angles. Not just what's about to happen, but why it's about to happen and who it's about to happen to and what that happening is going to mean for that character's relationship and how that fits into the larger thematic resonance of the story for the reader. As long as you have this in mind as you're writing, you'll have plenty of options to twist the story to keep the reader's interest as you move through. So like I said, I haven't finished The Walk yet, and it might pull some thematic, emotional twists out of its but I doubt it. But it's a pretty fun listen all the same. As for the novel, time will tell. This has been Left to Right. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments, how do you like your twists? What pulls you through a novel? I'd love to talk about it.